And good morning, Man Hour Nation. What a NFL weekend we had. We got some rule changes, no more hit tackle. Kickoff rule has been changed. We got some NFL draft coming up. NFL draft talk, I should say. We got Overreaction Tuesday. Are the Texans really a threat in the AFC? What? Giants drafted a quarterback. All that coming up and much, much more right here on the great show that we call Man Hour NFL Talk. But first, and now, Mike's thoughts. Sometimes I don't know what to think of the NFL rules. Sometimes I just do not know what to think of these rule changes. And as of right now, as of March 26, 2024 at 10:01 a.m. here on the East Coast time, the hip tackle has now officially been outlawed in the NFL. It will now be a 15-yard penalty with an automatic first down. Let me preference that this will be the swivel hip tackle. This is a hip tackle where you leave your feet and you swing around to bring the player down. So basically, there were 230 of these that would have been penalized in the 2023 NFL season, causing 15 players to get injured and to miss time. The swivel tackle is done in the NFL. However, they did come out and they did say that, hey, we probably won't be throwing a lot of flags on this year. You know, give us a little transitional period. But the swivel hip tackle is officially out in the NFL. Many NFL defensive players are coming out and say, hey, we might as well just put flags on us now. You don't want us to hit high. You don't want us to hit low. You don't want us to hit them too hard. You don't want them to, we can't hit them when they're not looking at us. They have to have put 2 feet down to make a football move before we can even breathe on them. You are making this damn near impossible. And I do have to agree. And playing NFL defense is getting damn near impossible. And at this point, I'm kind of leaning toward the put the flags on them. Put the 7-on-7 teams out there. You are taking away defense's ability to play great defense. If the NFL wants a 56 to 54 game every game, just say so. Just say so. Then we will put on the flags out there. But right now, hip tackle has officially been banned, been prohibited, whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the day, figure it out. Damn it. Why they got to make our job so damn hard? Cue that intro. Are you ready for the best damn NFL show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
Yeah, hey, let's go. Hitting that gridiron, we going hard, we running the plays. You know the vibe, only the strong survive. Gotta keep your head in the game. Talking NFL, uncut, straight raw. Steady bringing that sauce. We about to take off. Get it hype, this man, our sport talk. Yeah, from the quarterback to the lineman. Everybody bringing heat. You don't really want to try them. Hey, who gon' win? It's a battle of the giants. This show is the flyest. Nobody can deny it. This is Man Hour. Sport Talk. Man Hour. Sport Talk. What team you reppin'? We keep it interesting. Who caught another down? Who got that interception? This is Man Hour. Sport Talk. Man Hour. Sport Talk. What team you reppin'? We keep it interesting. Who caught another down? Who got that interception? Let's go.
And what is up, Man Hour Nation? Good morning to you and to everybody out there listening on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Like I said, you guys, we do got a pretty good show for you lined up on there. We got to talk a little bit NFL draft. What are the Washington Commanders going to do at number 2? We got Overreaction Tuesday, talking a little bit about the Houston Texans. We got to talk about the Giants. What are they going to do with their 6th overall pick in Hard Knocks? Making some changes over there on their beautiful in-season show. But if you guys are new here, drop a like here, drop a subscribe as well. Become a pigskin pundit. We do have the members only show. We do about 2 to 3 times a week. We break down some film. We just hang out. We shoot the shit, and we bounce ideas off of each other, how to make the show better each and every day. But head over to NFLtoday.co. We got blog section, we got merchandise section, we got forums, we got news, we got everything happening over there at NFLtoday.co. Oh, you want some stats? We got those over there as well. But guys, this is the live interactive show. Comments are encouraged. Talk your stuff, but be ready to defend yourself because we are a very common sense pointed comment section here. If you aren't going to bring any common sense, be prepared to defend yourself with live, raw, uncut NFL talk. But let's welcome some people into the chat here. We got my man Wayne G in the chat, and I think he has said it best right here. Chicken Little, the sky is falling. 232 tackles out of 34,000 tackles. Wayne G, you got a point there. Basically, what Wayne G is saying is we are eliminating a play that had 230 tackles that would have been flagged last season out of 34,000 plus tackles of the NFL season. But on the opposing side of that, Wayne G, I do understand that, out of those 230 players, 15 players did miss significant time after those injuries that they occurred after that tackle. So it is the highest injury to tackle ratio, right? But you are right. 230 tackles out of 34,000. It is a lot. Some of the NFL defenders maybe need to pump the brakes a little bit, slow it down, baby. But they are right. The defense is getting harder to play. You can't hit them high. You can't hit them low. You can't hit them too hard. You can't hit them when they're not. You can't hit them when they're not looking. You can't do a blindside block anymore, even though that's the best play in the NFL game or football game. Period. When I was in high school, college, you were always taught to keep your head on a swivel. Look for those when you run down for a kick return or a punt return, keep your head on a swivel. One of my career-defining moments was on a punt return. Some kid thought he was going to get our return man for a 3-yard loss. He was right there, getting ready to catch the ball there. I came and swiped that dude out of there, and the dude took it for a tutty. I love it. James Chambers in the chat. Good morning, James. He says, bring back the clothesline. Oh, what was that? Like the 70s and 80s when like the defensive lineman would just come out and just clobber the quarterbacks right across the head. Yeah, that was an era. Right? That was an era. Arthur Brown's in the chat. Good morning, Arthur Brown. And he says this is going to become more like two-hand touch. We don't want flags. Flag football might be too dangerous. Flag football might be a little too dangerous. Let's just make a two-hand touch. But when you two-hand touch them, you can't shove them. You cannot impede their movement moving forward because, you might break a nail. Just a nice little finger tap. Two-hand finger tap. That is all you got to do here. Arthur Brown also says, I'm glad that I played in the gladiator days back in the 90s when football, those were the real days. I mean, I kind of feel like I played in the real days too. I mean, I played in the 2000s up to 2014 is when about 2014 was when I officially said, you know what, I'm done. I'm tired of waking up and putting slippers on like every day. But I feel like till, I don't know, about 2011, 12, like we were playing pretty solid football in the 2000s. But probably 90s and 80s were definitely the no hold bars, right? Guys, do you remember when the first NFL player died? So obviously back in like the 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s, there was a lot of players that died. But I'm talking like the modern era, like 80s, 90s. Have there ever been any NFL deaths like on the field? So like, I'm just kind of curious of like why they keep putting all these safety protocols into the game. I mean, I understand we want to appeal to a larger crowd. You want to appeal to the what we're going in week one, Brazil and Europe and France and London and like all that stuff. But what makes football so great is it's such a violent game and not everybody can play it. Right now, it's getting to the point where everybody can play it, and it is what it is. Wayne G says everybody thinks their era was the best in every sport. LOL. No, mean, I definitely do love me some big padded 90s football era, right? When you look at the old, I don't know, like Bo Jackson and his shoulder pads were like 3 foot wide across. Man, I freaking love that era of football, Wayne. Like, Wayne, that's probably your era too. About the 90s? So Arthur Brown and Wayne, you guys are probably pretty close to the same age range. I'm not trying to age y'all. I understand you're aging like fine wine, getting sexier every day of the week. But the 90s and early 2000s, there were some good times there. Good times there. WB Ann is in the chat. He says, good morning. It's a sad day here in Baltimore. Yes, I did hear that news in Baltimore. So if you guys have not heard so far, there was a container ship going down the river through Baltimore. I don't know what the river is through Baltimore. Is it the Ohio? I don't know. But a container ship hit a bridge, collapsing the bridge. And the last I heard, they were looking for 7 people that like fell into the river because obviously the bridge collapsed. They're driving across it. So definitely prayers up there in Baltimore. Keep you all safe. Hopefully they find. I mean, I gotta want to be that guy, but hopefully they find everybody alive, and like what not. James says, I don't think so. Hamlin was the closest one from the vax job, meaning I don't think anybody has died on the NFL in recent times. Now there's been a couple of paralyzed people, right? Who was that receiver for the Detroit Lions? I believe it's the Packers game. He came across the middle and got hit, and he was paralyzed. The Cincinnati Bengals linebacker, right? He got paralyzed. So, yeah. Jim says, in no way do people pay the money they make. In no way do people pay the money they make deserve to have safety protocols. I didn't want one. And you can't have a collision sport with the masses without the collision. So basically, Jim is saying that pro athletes, football players are getting paid millions upon millions of dollars. You are out there to put your body on the line for 5 to 6 years to make life-changing money. You can take a couple hits. And let's just be honest, the retirement fund for the NFL is pretty nice. Pretty nice. You play 3 NFL seasons, you get retirement. It's a minimum like $100,000 a year, a minimum, right? And plus you get workman's comp. You get your 401k, right? NFL is a pretty lucrative business, and it's a pretty lucrative job, right? Wayne says, what? Money equals no safety? Sorry, Brad Pitt. No more stuntman for you. Let's listen. I would have loved to have been a stuntman in my younger days, but I kind of feel like actors like Brad Pitt or Will Ferrell or whoever should probably do their own stunts. You're getting paid a lot of money to be an actor in a movie, in an action movie, and you have to pay a guy like $10 to fall off a building into like a safety net. Come on, man. Yeah, Wayne, I thought of you last night. This is going to sound really weird, but I was laying in bed and I was watching this movie. It was called Supercell. It kind of looked like a remake of Twister, like at the beginning, right? The dad is going to go chase the big storm in it, and the dad dies, right? And then the son grows up in his footsteps, whatever, yada yada yada. But I was thinking of you last night, Wayne, laying in bed next to my wife watching this movie, and I was like, man, what would Wayne G say about this movie? What would Wayne G say about this movie? All righty, guys. So it is time to get into the title segment of today's show, and that is a little bit about the NFL draft. Actually, I thought we were going to talk about the Bears. No, never mind. Off script a little bit. It doesn't matter. Anyways, guys, let's talk a little bit about the NFL draft. The Washington Commanders currently hold the number 2 overall pick. all indications saying that they are going to draft a quarterback in this year's draft. Right now, I think their only quarterback on the roster is Marcus Mariota, if I'm not mistaken. They traded everybody else, get out of town. So, after some interviews, after some pro days, the ownership, general manager, coaching, which is Dan Campbell, of the Washington Commanders saying, hey, we really like J.J. McCarthy. We really like some Michigan quarterback, J.J. McCarthy. Of course, Coach Jim Harbaugh has said he is the best. He had the best pro day ever, and he is the best quarterback ever to come out of Michigan. One, Tom Brady did come out of Michigan. I just want to point that out there. But over the last few months, guys, we have been hearing nothing but Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels going 1, 2, 3. Caleb Williams has kind of been the census number 1 overall pick, and then Drake May and Jaden Daniels has kind of gone 2, 3, 3, 2, whatever. They've been flip-flopping back and forth depending on who you listen to. I personally think Jaden Daniels is probably going to have the best NFL career out of those 3 moving forward. But in the comments below, guys, let me know. Has there been a 4th quarterback that has officially entered into the conversation? Has there been a 4th quarterback that could go number 2 overall? Has J.J. McCarthy officially entered the building? Have you guys had a chance to watch some J.J. McCarthy film? Besides the pro day, besides the talk, besides the highlights, have you guys actually watched J.J. McCarthy play? Personally, I have not had a chance to watch J.J. McCarthy play outside the Michigan-Ohio State game. I did flashback to some other games that they had an opportunity to play in. Of course, this was a Michigan State game, a rivalry game, whatever, right? But guys, J.J. McCarthy kind of jumps off the screen at you. When you look at the film of J.J. McCarthy, pretty much this whole last season, the 2023 college football season, he kind of jumps out at you and say, hey, I'm pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. Now, I am in the process still of watching some Drake May and some more Caleb Williams tape, try to educate myself here in the next month before the draft really kicks off. But J.J. McCarthy's pretty damn good, guys. The Commanders could take him at number 2. I gotta be curious, guys. What do you guys think? Do you think J.J. McCarthy will go number 2 overall? And if he does go number 2 overall, are the Washington Commanders making a mistake? I'm kind of curious to see what you guys think here. James says they'll make a big mistake if they don't draft Daniels out of LSU at number 1 overall. Many people are saying that Jaden Daniels might go number 1 overall to the Chicago Bears, but it seems like all indications are that the Bears are sold on Caleb Williams. He's worked out with Keenan Allen, many conversations, many steak dinners. If I heard correctly, he already bought a house up there. I don't know. Kind of says, hey, he knows something we don't. Wayne G said, I had JJ to the Commanders in my last mock draft. I actually think the Bears and Commanders swap into Chicago takes JJ at number 2. So why would the Commanders want to move up to number 1 to draft Caleb Williams? Because it's going to probably take a pretty buttload of a pick, right? I mean, obviously swap picks this season, probably a first-round pick next year and a first-round pick after that. Would the Bears really do that to get the Caleb Williams stink off of them, right? Because many people think that Caleb Williams will be just an average quarterback in the NFL. Many people think that Caleb Williams will kind of just be a guy. And if the Bears don't have an opportunity to draft him, they can't flunk on the draft, right? I mean, I kind of see what they're trying to say. People are sleeping on Austin Reed from Western Kentucky. Check his stats and check his film out. Listen, WB Ant, I love me some Hilltoppers. I go to many Hilltopper games. They're about 2 hours away from us, maybe 3 hours. I can't remember. I'm usually 2 sheets to the wind by the time we get to Louisville, which is 10 minutes which is 10 minutes away. But that's besides the point. Let's look at the last Western Kentucky quarterback that we thought was going to really jump off the boards at us, right? By the name of Bailey Zappi. Now, I'm not saying that colleges have a certain stigmatism about them, about the quarterbacks, i.e. Ohio State, right? Many people say that every quarterback from Ohio State is a bust in the NFL. Hopefully C.J. Stroud did maybe break that stigmatism a little bit. But I did watch Austin Reed a lot this season. And I do not see him as a game-changing quarterback. Now, if he had an opportunity to go to a team and sit for a year or two, learn from a good coach, learn from a good quarterback in front of him, he could potentially have a really good NFL career. But when you look at the teams that have that said situation, that have a good coach, that have a good quarterback, that is an aging quarterback, the only team that really comes to mind right off the bat would be a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh Steelers already kind of had their quarterback in waiting in Justin Fields. Russell, 37 years old, 36 years old. He's going to start this year. He's going to play this year, could potentially take them to the Super Bowl this season. Then he's going to ride off into the sunset and retire, maybe bounce around a couple other teams, but this is Justin Fields' team moving forward. Other than that, the only potential team that I could say that is the case, the Kansas City Chiefs. Problem is, Andy Reid's 70 years old. You don't know how long he is going to be there still. Patrick Mahomes is well in the prime of his career still. Barring any injury, he's probably there for another 10, 15 years, right? You could say maybe the Green Bay Packers, Jordan Love, right in the prime of his career. He's going on year 6, right? Matt LaFleur, pretty damn good coach. Maybe the Detroit Lions, Jared Goff, kind of on the latter side of his career, but they have Hendon Hooker waiting in the balance. There is just not really a place where I see Austin Reed going to and developing for a year or two, and then becoming the guy. I don't know what Seattle head coaching situation is. I don't know how good of head coach he's going to be, or leader of men. But it is what it is. James says, yeah, I think JJ is solid, but he's a quarterback that will need solid supporting cast. True. But right now, if Wayne G is right, if the Washington Commanders trade up to number 1 and get that number 1 overall pick, and the Chicago Bears drop down to number 2, the Chicago Bears have quietly built a pretty good supporting cast. Nice running game and DeAndre Swift. They've added some nice pieces on the passing side of the ball, or on the receiver side of things. Keenan Allen. They still have, what's his name? The guy they traded for last year, DJ, whatever his last name is. I can't believe I'm forgetting his name right now. DJ Moore, right? DJ Moore? Is that what it is? I mean, the Bears have quietly kind of become a nice little supporting cast team. The Bears have quietly kind of been like, oh shit, you guys better win now or you're going to be really, really bad. But I think you're right. I think JJ does need a solid receiver, nice running game, and a defense. And Wayne G says moving from 2 to number 1 doesn't cost a fortune. Probably a 2nd and a 5th round pick. It depends what you value Caleb Williams at. Said he could start for the Giants. We'll be talking about the Giants here momentarily. Well, momentarily. James says it would be smart for Falcons to take a quarterback like Reed. I forgot about the Falcons. That is a great point, because the Falcons did just sign to Kirk Cousins to a 4-year deal? Is it 3 or 4-year deal? Either way, 36 years old, coming off an Achilles injury, obviously has been around the block, knows how to be the leader, could probably teach Austin Reed a thing or two. Nice young coach. We'll see. But let's get into the title segment of today's show. The NFL has officially released us the first game of the NFL season. The Hall of Fame game. Bears versus Texans. Tickets go on sale April 12th. Are you guys excited about this game at all? Like, legit. Are we excited for the Bears versus Texans at the Hall of Fame game? First things first, people are all like, oh, hyped up at. Oh, we get to see Caleb Williams versus CJ Stroud at the Hall of Fame game. They're not going to play. They're not going to play. This is an extra preseason game for these teams. They're not going to play any of their starters at all. They're going to play players that are strictly on the bubble. You might see a little bit of Taysom Bagent, right? You might see, who did the Texans just sign as their backup quarterback? I can't think of his name. You are going to see 0 starters on that field at the Hall of Fame game. Do not get excited. Do not get excited at all about the Hall of Fame game, period. Do not get excited. But guys, it is Tuesday, and that means it's time for Overreaction Tuesday. Overreaction Tuesday is very, very simple. I've been out scouring the old interwebs. I've been on Discord. I've been on Reddit, Twitter, Facebook. I'm on everywhere. Sometimes I'm an alias. Sometimes I'm actually myself. You never know who you're talking to, so watch your P's and Q's, baby. But we're going to put out some questions, and we're going to determine if it's an overreaction, like, hey, that's not going to happen, or if it's an underreaction, like, hey, wait a second, slow it down, baby. Buck might be right. But on this first overreaction, we got to talk about the one and only Houston Texans. We got to talk about this team that came out of nowhere in 2023. They had the second and the third overall pick, and they did make the playoffs last season. They actually did beat the Browns in the wild card round, was tied with the Baltimore Ravens again going to halftime, of course, and they shit the bed. But, guys, is it an overreaction or is it an underreaction that the Texans are a serious threat in the AFC? So when we look at the Houston Texans, they've kind of had a pretty big offseason. They added some depth to the running back in a via of a trade for Joe Mixon from the Cincinnati Bengals. They signed free agent Danielle Hunter from the Minnesota Vikings. That's huge. Match him up with Will Anderson. It's going to be a dangerous front four. Good Lord, I cannot wait to like see that actually in action. Re-signed Dalton Schultz. Yeah, kind of a down year, but he's still a veteran tight end presence there. Signed a CJ Henderson, the cornerback, just to name a few. The last few seasons, the Texans have been signing a bunch of value guys, and they've been getting the best out of them, i.e. maybe the Patriot effect a little bit. But when we look at them as a serious threat in the AFC, we have to see, can they compete with the Chiefs? Can they compete with the Ravens? Can they compete with the Steelers and the Bills? If you can compete with those teams, that would make you a serious threat. In my eyes, guys, this is an overreaction. Yes, they did finish in their division last season. Yes, they did win a playoff game. Yes, they made the playoffs, right? But they had the 5th easiest schedule in 2023. When you go to the 5th easiest schedule to now one of the hardest schedules in the NFL, we're going to see really how good you are. Let's look at some of the teams that they play this season. Just at home. Obviously, they'll play the Colts, they'll play the Titans, and they'll play the Jaguars, division foes. But this is out of division. At home, they play the Ravens, they play the Bills, Lions, Dolphins, and Bears. That could very easily be 5 losses at home. 5 losses right there off like off the bat. We anticipate the Ravens being hella freaking good. Buffalo Bills are still the Buffalo Bills. Look what they did second half of the season. They coming. Detroit Lions, fresh off the NFC Championship appearance, they're probably going to be back. Dolphins, if they sign OBJ, they're going to be the highest flying offense in the NFL, and they have the best back 4 in the NFL. The Bears, kind of a wild card. We don't know what they're going to be. They have a lot of talent on paper. Then we look at the teams that they got to play on the road. They got to play the Dallas Cowboys. Oh, you can say what you want about the Dallas Cowboys, but at home, they're a very, very good team. Green Bay Packers start off slow last season, beat the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs. They are there. Packers are back. Then you play the Vikings, kind of a wild card. The Jets should be good with Aaron Rodgers back, right? They should be. The defense is back. They've had a great offensive line. Jets should be good. And the Patriots, a true wild card. We don't know what we're going to get out of the New England Patriots this season. So are they a serious threat in the AFC? Guys, this is an overreaction. Slow it down, baby. Just because they made the playoffs last season, just because they won a playoff game, doesn't mean shit in my book. You had the 5th easiest schedule. You go from the easiest to the hardest schedule. Let's see what CJ Stroud is now. Let's see what DeMeco Ryans is now. Let's see if Danielle Hunter can handle the adversity. Joe Mixon, etc. Let's see what they can do. See what they can do. What do you guys think? Is it an overreaction or underreaction that the Houston Texans are a serious threat in the AFC? James says, I don't think they will be any better because of the harder schedule, but they won't be any worse. They still have to win their division. Sorry, they still will win their division. When we look at the AFC South right now, guys, the Texans got a hell of a lot better in 3 days. When Derrick Henry was signed by the Baltimore Ravens, and the Tennessee Titans fired their coach, fired their GM. Many people thinking, oh, rebuild mode, right? But look who they added. Added Tony Pollard. Add a little bit of Calvin Ridley. A second-year Will Levis. Pretty good draft pick this season. I don't know. I think they're saying like at 12. The Titans got a hell of a lot better this season. Plus, you got the Colts. Colts played last year all with Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew isn't a terrible quarterback, but he's no Anthony Richardson either, right? They were in the playoff hunt all season long. Colts got a little bit better. Anthony Richardson should be back for the whole season, hopefully, right? And the true wild card of the division is the Jacksonville Jaguars. They honestly have a quarterback competition down there in Jacksonville right now between Mac Jones and Trevor Lawrence. Who is going to come out like a head? Maybe the Jacksonville Jaguars can finally get it right all season long and make it back to the playoffs. The Texans won't win the division. The Texans will not win their division. Look into my eyes, James. The Texans might finish last in their division this season. You know how we spoke so highly of the AFC North last year? They all finished with a winning record. They all could possibly make the playoffs. This season, I think the AFC South got a hell of a lot better. The Titans might win that division. Wayne G says, I don't buy into preseason toughest schedule. How many times do we think a team is going to have a hard schedule and then at the end of the season they only played 3 winning teams? Very, very, very true, Wayne. You are exactly right. But on the other hand, I don't care if the Ravens, Bills, Lions, Dolphins, Bears, Cowboys, Packers, Vikings, Jets, Patriots only have 3 wins combined. It's still going to be very, very tough to go to Lambeau Field and play the Packers. It's going to be very, very tough to go to Minneapolis to play the Vikings. It's going to be very, very tough to go up the highway to Dallas to play the Dallas Cowboys. It is easy to be the hunter, right? Now the Houston Texans are becoming the hunted. They got a bullseye on their back. Everybody has that game circle like, hey, they're not going to come up and shock us this year, right? Last year, you could kind of scratch the name out and put bye next to the Houston Texans. Not so much anymore. Now they've got the team's attention. They got teams as like, hey, We got to show up and play these guys. It's going to be tough either way. Jim Powell's in the chat. Good morning, Jim. CJ will become his biggest fan, and that's business as usual. CJ will become whose biggest fan? Paul Aker says, dude, you're full of shit. Okay, Paul. What am I full of shit of, Paul? I mean, I am not the one in this Facebook picture trying to get an angle of my arms and make them look super big. Come on, man. Look, if you want to look big, Paul, take your shirt off and just stand square, arms down. Don't try to flex. Don't cut off the shirt like 2 inches above your neckline. Come on, Paul. What am I full of shit of, Paul? I'll give you a second to respond. Let's see what Paul has to say, guys. Are you going to answer, Paul? What am I full of shit of? I guess Paul doesn't want to talk, does he? Paul came in here, new name. Welcome to the show, Paul. Apparently, you didn't know the rules. Paul, what are the rules here at Man Hours? You can talk your shit. You can talk your stuff in the stuff in the chat all you want, but better be ready to defend yourself. Look at this man, running for the hills. Running for the hills. Jim says CJ will become CJ's biggest fan. CJ will like how CJ plays when CJ gets the ball and CJ throws for a CJ touchdown. Is that what we're coming to, Jim? The next overreaction on this Overreaction Tuesday is the Giants ownership, guys. The ownership of the Giants have given the okay to Brian Daboll and shown the general manager of the New York Football Giants gave them the okay to draft a quarterback in 2024. Currently, guys, the Giants sit at the 6th overall pick. So is it an overreaction or an underreaction that the New York Giants will seriously draft a quarterback at the 6th overall pick? When we look at the New York Giants, they are kind of a walking dumpster fire. They are they are a walking dumpster fire. They let Saquon Barkley walk for nothing, right? They signed Daniel Jones to a $160 million deal last season. I think it's a 5-year, $160 million deal that he signed for. Got hurt week 9. And now they might draft a quarterback. Guys, is it an overreaction or underreaction that Giants will seriously draft a quarterback at 6th overall? Guys, I do not think that the quarterback situation is the issue in New York. In East Rutherford, New Jersey, home of MetLife Stadium, the New York Giants, not the Jets. I don't think the issue is the quarterback. Yes, in 2023, Daniel Jones did get hurt week 9. They were 2-6 at that particular point. They ultimately did lose the game that he got hurt in. Yes, I know. They finished, 6-11 last season. Yes, I know. But let's flash back to 2022. They were 9-7-1. They were a playoff team. They beat the Minnesota Vikings in the playoffs in wild card in 2022. They ended up playing the eventual representative of the NFC and the Philadelphia Eagles in the divisional round and got the brakes beat off them. Was it 37-6 or 37-7? But in the end, they were just in the playoffs and won a playoff game with Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback. Now, ownership did say that they're even willing to move up in the draft if they fall in love with a guy. So if they want some J.J. McCarty, if they want them some Jaden Daniels or Caleb Williams, they can move up in the draft. With all that being said, guys, I don't think it is an overreaction. I think that Brian Daboll and the New York Giants have been looking for a reason to get Daniel Jones out of town. They are looking for a reason to bring in their guy. Let's just be honest. Daniel Jones is not Brian Daboll's guy. It is what it is. Brian Daboll's job is probably on the line. 6-11 last season, not very good. Yes, you did make the playoffs, but expectations are kind of higher in New York, right? Let's win us some football games. I do not think it's an overreaction that the New York Giants will draft a quarterback at 6th overall. Hell, it would not shock me if they tried to move up to the number 2 overall pick. It would not shock me one bit. If Wayne G's theory is right, the Commanders move up to number 1, Bears slide down to number 2. The Giants call the Bears, swap picks. Would not shock me one bit. Would not shock me one bit. Well, what do you guys think? Is it an overreaction or an underreaction that the Giants could seriously draft a quarterback at this? Wayne G says, Paul isn't wrong. You are a FOS, but I'm curious which take in particular he's talking about. I don't know what FOS is, Wayne. I'm not very good with the abbreviations. John says Trevor Lawrence wins the Mac Jones versus Trevor Lawrence quarterback battle. WBN says overreaction. They got so many needs. Who knows what position they will draft? If you have so many needs and quarterback is, quote, a need, right? If you are a Daniel Jones fan or not, the point of the matter is Daniel Jones hasn't had a lot of weapons around him. There's a reason why Daboll is there now, because their previous coach, who was it? Guy from the Patriots. Guys, refresh my memory. What was the Giants' old head coach? There's a reason why he's not there anymore, because they weren't successful. I don't think Daniel Jones is the problem, but what do you do with a snake if a snake's bad or full? You cut his head off, right? I don't know where I was going with that analogy, but Daniel Jones is going to be a casualty. The next person in New York that needs to be fired is that garbage GM. That is facts. As soon as they let Saquon Barkley walk, test the free agent market. There's not going to be any wants you to say Saquon. Guy should have been fired on the spot. Saquon said that he wanted to be a Giant for life. You didn't even try to offer him a contract. Maybe he would have took a 2-year, $18 million deal. Who knows? Jones is trash, says WBN. Is he though? I'm curious to see what the stats say. Let's see what the stats say. I'm at NFLtoday.co, guys. Clicking on the New York Giants team and going down to Daniel Jones and clicking on his career stats. There we go. Scroll down a little bit. Excuse me. So Daniel Jones is in his 5th year. So these are 5 years of stats. He's entering in his 6th season. He does have a 60 games played. He has a 64% career completion percentage. He has 1,221 completions with 1,900 attempts, 12,000 yards, 62 touchdowns to 40 interceptions. This is a kicker. He's been sacked 180 times in his 5-year career. I mean, Daniel Jones is putting up fairly good numbers every season, guys. His rookie year, 3,000 yards, 24 touchdowns to 12 interceptions. In 2020, he had just under 3,000 yards, 11 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. I believe that was the year that the coach was fired. The following season, 2021, 2,500 yards, 10 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. 2022, 3,000 yards, 15 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. And last year, he just played just 9 games, but he did had just under 1,000 yards, 2 touchdowns to 6 interceptions last year. It was kind of rough. I don't think Daniel Jones is that bad. I don't know. Defense and Saquon carried him that year. The dude had 15 passing touchdowns. I mean, when you have a workhorse like Saquon Barkley, use him. Use him and abuse him, right? Use him and abuse him and don't look back. Don't look back. But guys, Hard Knocks is looking to change the way they do the in-season Hard Knocks now. It has been reported by Hard Knocks executive, and they said, and I quote, "An in-season this season, we are going to try to cover a full division, just not one team. Therefore, we like to film the rivalries and how coaches get teams up ready for their divisional opponents." Guys, first things first, do you watch in-season Hard Knocks? I'm just kind of curious because I like the preseason Hard Knocks. I do like that, but I do not catch myself watching the in-season Hard Knocks. Maybe that is what they're trying to do. Maybe they're trying to get a division of in-season Hard Knocks so that, you know, if it's a tight divisional race, say they do the AFC North, right? You have the Ravens, the Steelers, the Bengals, and the Browns, right? And if you get 4 teams to choose from, you can kind of gear toward the Ravens. You kind of geared toward the Steelers. Like, you can kind of cancel out the bad teams, I guess. I don't know. What do you guys think? First things first, do you watch in-season Hard Knocks? And would a division Hard Knocks be intriguing to you? James says last year it was my Dolphins and I still didn't watch it. Yeah. I do like the preseason Hard Knocks. I do like that. And they go to like week 5 or so maybe. I do like that. But other than that, get it out of here. But guys, that is going to be it for today's show. I got to go to work early because Good Friday. My company doesn't pay me for Good Friday. What's that all about? So I got to work extra. Anyways, this is live, raw, uncut NFL talk, guys. Be sure to become a Pigskin Pundit by clicking the link below. Be kind to everybody, ELE. And tomorrow, guys, we got to talk about the Detroit Lions. I have a lot of Detroit Lions in my inbox, and why have you talked about the Lions? Why have you talked about the Lions? Why have you talked about the Lions? Let's talk about the Lions. Let's talk a little bit about the Detroit Lions next or tomorrow about their free agent moves. And if you guys want to talk about anything, let me know in the comments below. Hit me up on the inbox, whether it's the Man Hour inbox or the Man Hour _ Buck inbox on Facebook. Hit me up and we'll talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Also trying to work on getting a special guest on the show. My man Zen got a hookup with Marvin Harrison Jr. Trying to get that man on. We'll see if he wants to talk to us and kind of just let go. We'll see what happens. We'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, same place, 10 a.m. East Coast time. Man Hour Nation, rise up.